Welcome back. In this Penguin Nugget, we're going to be focusing on the second part of implementing task control. In the first part, we looked at implementing task control using loops, and we looked at how to do loops with simple lists and complex lists. Simple lists with just simple items in a list, and complex lists with dictionaries, a list of dictionaries in a list. This second part, we're going to focus on conditionals. And when you hear conditions, if you have any background in programming, you probably think about if statements and nested ifs, and you'd be right to think in that direction. But here, the concept holds true, but in a different context. So let's take a look. The foundation of this concept is remembering that modules in Ansible are idempotent. What does idempotent mean? It means that a task will only run if the existing state is different from the desired state as declared in the task. Okay? So if the desired state in the task is different from the current state on the managed node, then the task will run. However, if the desired state in the task matches the current existing state in the managed node, then the task will make no changes at all. And that's why we call that modules are idempotent, which it means you can run the task or the module in a task, 10, 20 times, and you will always achieve the same results. So just bear this in mind. Now, conditional tasks in Ansible are done by using handlers. So how do you define handlers? Handlers are tasks that run only if certain tasks make changes on the managed node. Okay, so if a certain task, and how do I know what certain task we're talking about? That certain task would have a notify statement in the task. Okay, so if a task has a notify statement and this task ended up making changes to the managed node, then we'll have to go look down for the handlers section, and we'll have to run the tasks listed under the handlers section. That's why you can look at it as an if statement, as a conditional statement. So you can read it as such. If the task that has a notify statement made changes to the managed node, then run the tasks under the handlers section. You can read it that way. Now, really important here, I have some color scheme for you and some arrows because I wanted you, when you write your YAML code in your playbooks, to bear in mind that if you take a look at the indentation level, tasks and handlers are under the same indentation level. So you have the tasks in a play, and after a block of tasks in a playbook, you will have your handlers. Okay. Also, notice that indentation-wise, your notify statement has the same indentation as the module that is going to be run within the task. So in this case scenario, we are using Ansible.builtin.template, and we're basically saying that if this module ended up making changes at the managed node as declared by the inventory file and in the play header, then you will have to go to the handler section and run these tasks. Okay, so in terms of the naming convention, notice that notify really has an array. An array in Python is pretty similar to a list. There are very subtle differences, right, that I don't want to cover in this recording, but you can think about it as a list. So look under the notify statement, we have a list of 2 items and they're declared with dashes, okay? And notice that the name of the item matches the name of the task under the handlers section. So look here, notify, this is just the name. We're gonna call this name restart my SQL, okay? Now here there is a task under the handlers section. It's what? It's a conditional task. And the name of the task is restart my SQL. So these two, the names will have to be identical, okay? Here's another item in the list, restart Apache, and here is the another task. The name of the task is restart Apache, and the names are identical. So that's how, right, notify knows what handlers will have to execute when the Ansible.builtin.template module makes change to the managed node. Okay, so basically, yeah, when is conditional tasks, when is handlers used? Handlers used in playbooks in one of the 2 cases. You need to restart certain services because the configuration tasks for certain services have been modified. And you know that if you modify the configuration task for a service such as Secure Shell, if you modify the configuration file for Secure Shell, you will have to restart the Secure Shell daemon. Handlers are also used to restart a node, okay? So there are certain changes that you may make to a managed node that will not take effect until you reboot or restart the managed node. So those are the most common conditions or cases where conditional tasks are implemented. So bear this in mind. So notice here, if you ever go to the source file, so imagine this is on your control node, and in your control node, there is this path, right, where you have the configuration file and the template for it. You can make modification to this file every now and then based on what changes you are trying to implement to the configuration of a service and how it runs. And if this file ever gets changed, right, then Ansible will know, the template module will know that it will have to push this file again to the managed node. And it will push it exactly in this path. And if that happens, then it will have to go and notify whatever conditional tasks in the handlers section. And that's really all you need to know about conditional tasks with handlers. Thank you for tuning in.